All right, this next game is another very interesting game that Jonathan played, and he was playing Lubabalo Kondlo, a world champion in this game. And the opening, Jonathan, let's play it out here with you as the white. No, you as the white pieces.
Yeah, I was the white side, and Lubabalo was the red side.
All right.
And so the opening that we balloted was 9-13, 22-18, and 12-16.
This is, I think, a deceptively tough opening here.
Yeah, and I was actually really happy with this balloted opening. I had, some play in mind, but Lubabalo did not oblige me to allow me to play it. But I responded with 24-20, which is the post-play response, and he played the 8-12, which is correct, and I played the 25-22. And then Lubabalo surprised me with the 16-19 exchange.
And I think prior to that move, the typical published play response is this 10-15 move.
Yes. But he played this 16-19 with capture and capture. And I spent a little bit of time here. I knew that I should have a technical advantage on the board, but I was not very familiar with this position. And, I realized that the best move was first to put some pressure and force red to weaken its single corner with 27-23, 4-8.
So commencing the runoff here.
Yes, capture. And then he played 8-12. And here I spent quite a bit of time because there were two moves that I felt would exert pressure, the most pressure, but I was not sure which one was best. And ultimately, I chose to play 32-27, which, after looking it up, the program recommended. Now, it says this 32-27 is good, but it rated this 29-25, which was the other option that I considered as stronger. But this 32-27 is still strong and still white advantage.
And from my perspective, I feel like it's a natural continuation from the initial runoff. What is nice about this 29-25 move is after the red capture here, white can then strike into the 18-15, probably exerting a little bit more pressure. But this 32-27, as what you played, Jonathan, is incredibly natural because it's just the continuation to the initial 27-23 runoff.
And so we have the capture here afterwards. And now I'm going to continue the runoff. I'm going to continue the runoff with 27-23, and Lubabalo trades 11-16, capture. And so now, with his single corner so weakened, I'm going to strike out 18-15 and go towards the weakened single corner. And Lubabalo finds the correct 16-20.
Very good move.
And capture. And this position is deceptive. And this position is ultimately what fooled me because white can gain a man here, but that man really doesn't help white's position ultimately. And so I evaluated this position as being much stronger for me than what it actually was.
And we'll see as we continue to play this out what exactly that means, but it goes to the old adage that position does in fact beat possession.
Yes, and sometimes that can be difficult to see across the board. You look at the possession and you think, okay, well, that will outdo the position, and in this case, my evaluation of the entire position was wrong. So I play 31-27. Lubabalo plays 6-10, and I play this 16-11, and Lubabalo plays 10-15, and now I'm going to gain the man that I had talked about earlier with 27-23. And I realize, I'm gaining a man, but we're now letting Lubabalo, he's got a free path to the king row. And so he plays 20-24, capture, and 24-27. And now I'm going to go for my own king by playing 16 to 12, and Lubabalo crowns on 31, 27 to 31. And this is really where my significant trouble starts in this game. Up until this point, I have had a slight advantage. Technically at this position, it's an even position, but I struck out of here and I moved 26 to 23.
I think that's a natural continuation because you want to alleviate some pressure from your single corner because this king is so imposing, essentially trapping your entire single corner right now. And maybe going in for a king, also limited mobility, maybe it's not as natural.
Yeah, and so I played the 26 to 23. And my idea was that if he advances his king, I'm going to now capture his king. And so, he could get the man back, or he will get the man back, but he's not going to have a king, and I'm eventually going to be able to crown over in his single corner. So he plays the correct 31 to 27, and I decided to allow him to gain the man back, but I'm going to capture his king, and I play 11 to 8.
And I think it's important here to see again, white is a piece ahead. So yes, red is going to capture his two pieces, but once white captures back, we're back to even number of checkers on the board.
Yes. Capture, and then I'm going to capture the king right back. And here, Lubabalo correctly evaluated the position, and the strength in red's position is that I've got a really cramped single corner, and he's able to exert pressure on that single corner. And he plays this 5-9. And immediately here I realized that even though I'm able to get a king, I've got a man stuck here on 22 that is in immediate trouble, and I can't get my king back in time to help that man effectively. So I'm going to go ahead and crown 8 to 4, 9 to 14, 4 to 8, and now red is going to block the king from advancing with 2 to 7. And so now the only option really that I have on the board, I'm playing 28 to 24, and now red plays in 14 to 18.
And white cannot go 24-19 because ultimately white will be up a piece and will have the advantage.
Yeah, red will be up a piece.
Correct, red. Red will be up a piece. Yes.
Yeah,
so that's why 24-19 cannot be played.
Yeah, and so I block with 30 to 25, and red plays 18 to 23. And now these three pieces are cramped, and I need to try to get out of this single corner. So I'm playing 28 to 24, and Lubabalo finds this really nice 7 to 11. And so here, the only move that I have on the board is to play 21 to 17.
Creating this elbow, moving back, it just wastes time. Red is just going to continue to get a king. It's just going to waste time. So creating this elbow, but there's a really nice tactical sequence here that the world champion plays.
Yes, and so he pitches 11 to 16, and then after the pitch, he takes the 2 for 2. And so after the pitch and jump, then 15 to 18, capture, and then red captures 13 to 29.
But you can see why that pitch was so powerful because red has the bridge ending now with pieces on both 1 and 3. And again, white, Jonathan, in this position, your mobility is severely restricted.
Yes, and we're in a very technical bridge ending coming up here. And I've got two pieces that are going to be stuck, and I'll have two kings, but he's going to be able to exert a lot of pressure on my bridge. And so after the double capture, I move basically the only move that's on the board with 15 to 10, 29, 25, 11 to 7, 25 to 22. And I just want to say this ending is pretty drawn out. And so some of these moves, when I'm making them, they may not be exactly as they were played in the game, but the ideas are very close to what was played in the game.
And I think, too, it's important to note that these bridge endings, I did a video on bridge endings a while back. There's so many different variations of them. I recommend setting up this position on the board and playing it out on your own just to see the different ways where white can defend, red can attack. Obviously, Jonathan's going to show about what happened in his game, but I think it's just really very instructive, and I recommend setting this up on your own board.
And so then Lubabalo, and let's see, it's white's move here, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then first I go 7 to 2 and crown, 22 to 17, and now I'm going to move the king out, 8 to 11, 17 to 13, and now I don't want the king to come in here, so I block with 2 to 6. And so now Lubabalo plays 23 to 27. I play 16 to 11, or 11 to 16, which really, this move wastes time. It doesn't hurt me, but ultimately it doesn't help me, because when he crowns 27 to 31, I realize that the red king has got the move on my white king, and I can't make it to this double corner. And so my only option is to go and protect my bridge. And so I reverse course and play 16 to 11, 31 to 26.
I think we should make a point here as well. If some of you are wondering, well, why can't the white king go into the center of the board like this? Well, in this sort of situation, you have just an easy 2-for-1 and an easy win for red.
Yes. And so instead of doing that, I'm playing back into the bridge with 11 to 7. And now 26 to 22. And now I'm playing back 6 to 2. And what I'm trying to do is, these kings cannot advance on the position because I have got a shot by pitching the man that's on 12 and trading my man that's on 10 for a 2-for-2.
So really, the red has to be careful. It cannot go here. It cannot go here. It cannot go here. It cannot go here. Because, as Jonathan mentioned, you have this pitch, and then you have the 2-for-1. So that would make white's life significantly easier.
Yes, that would enable the draw a lot quicker. And so red moved back here. Now I'm going to move my white king out. So I'm right at this point, I'm just playing for a draw. Red has all the power in this game. If I can get a draw, I'm feeling very good in this position. And so red moves the man out 13 to 17. I'm going to move the king out and follow with 6 to 13.
Or 6 to 9, yep.
6 to 9. Yes, sorry, 6 to 9. And then 17 to 22. And now it really doesn't, I can go back and forth, but I moved 9 to 13. And again, this would be disastrous for red because I have this shot in hand if red ever moves into that central square.
And that would win for white.
Yes, and in this case, that would win for white. But, of course, Lubabalo did not play that. He played 26 to 23, 13, 9, 23 to 27, 9, 13, 27 to 24, 13, 9, 24 to 20, 9, 13. And now red is going to move this other king back, 22 to 26, 13, 9, 26, 23, 9 to 6, then 20 to 16, 6 to 9, 23 to 26, 9 to 6, 27 to 24. And now I'm going to move in to the 2 square, 6 to 2, 24 to 20, and back out 2 to 6. Now, if red executes a trade, 16 to 11, I now have the move, so I can move my king back to square 2, and the red man can never capture this piece because I'll always be able to block with the move.
This king will always protect this piece on 10.
And so Lubabalo played here. Now, of course, if I move the wrong way, if I move, and let's see if I have this correctly. If I were to move out in this direction now, then I believe Lubabalo will have a potential winning position. But instead in this position, I played here, and Lubabalo offered the draw at this point.
Incredibly instructive ending. That's why I really recommend setting up this specific bridge ending on your own board to really play out these moves, and how easy it would be to fall into a trap if you're red by going onto this square, because you always have this perpetual pitch. And also white just more or less defending by going back and forth, never moving into this square because, again, you have a 2-for-1. So, again, super instructive, and it just goes to show you that these bridge endings are very practical and can happen, and it saved Jonathan against a world champion.
Yes, I was very fortunate to draw this game, and I felt very lucky to end this game in a draw, because I was under a lot of pressure on this game, from thinking that I had a strong position in the start to realizing I'm just barely surviving to potentially get a draw.
The ebbs and flows of a specific checker game. Well, Jonathan, I really appreciate you sharing these games with us. Much appreciated, and congratulations on such a strong finish in the latest U.S. Open.
Okay. Thank you again.